Welcome back to The Explainer. Let's just forget the dense academic fluff for a minute. Today, we're stepping right up to the chalkboard to uncover the hidden beauty of the universe through the lens of pure structure. We are going to completely decode the mathematical language of symmetry itself. So think about this. If you take a perfect hexagon and you rotate it, how many ways can it actually move before it leaves a ghost of its original position? I mean, you can spin it, you can flip it, but eventually those moves are going to repeat, right? The shape just snaps back into a form identical to where it started. As we explored in our Intro to Group Theory explainer, this right here is the mathematical language of symmetry, and it's not just some fun geometry puzzle. It is a profound limitation of reality. It is literally exactly why the universe has a structured, measurable loop. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the Riddle of Symmetry. To really understand what gives order to mathematical and physical objects, we've got to look at our core term. A finite group is, well, it's a mathematical group based on a finite number of elements. You'll usually see it marked in that signature Staiblocks blue because it's that important. When you're dealing with objects, whether that's in physics or pure math, that only allow a limited number of structure-preserving transformations, you desperately need a language to describe them. You can't just throw infinite numbers at the problem. You have a closed universe of possibilities. And that closed universe, that is a finite group. Now, here is the part that keeps mathematicians awake at night. Section 2, solving the enormous theorem. Because, listen, this wasn't just solved over a weekend with a lot of coffee. This was a massive generational quest. Just follow this timeline with me. Back in the 1830s, the incredibly brilliant Évariste Galois constructs projective groups. Then we jump to 1879, where George Frobenius and Ludwig Stickelberger start really pushing abelian group theory forward. By the 1950s, Claude Chevalley is constructing finite analogs of continuous mathematical structures. And yet, and this is kind of crazy to me, it wasn't until 2004 that mathematicians finally hit the ultimate milestone, the completion of the classification of finite simple groups. That massive gap between the 1830s and 2004? Yeah, that required the collaborative brainpower of over 100 authors. And actually, scratch that. Calling it a collaboration is almost an understatement. This wasn't just one paper. We're talking about tens of thousands of pages spread across several hundred different journal articles. The sheer monumental scale of that collective genius earned the achievement a perfectly fitting nickname, the Enormous Theorem. And what this theorem basically means is that all the simple groups, the ones from which literally all finite groups can be built, are now completely known to us. The entire math is finally drawn. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, Section 3, 4 species of algebra. So, to actually read this map, we need to know the distinct species that live on it. Over on one side, you've got permutation groups. Think of these guys as the ultimate shufflers. A symmetric group contains all n factorial possible arrangements of symbols. It's kind of like the incredibly complex shuffling of a deck of cards. But on the flip side, we have cyclic groups. These are way simpler. All their elements are really just powers of one particular element. Imagine the hands on a clock face. No matter how many times you advance the hour, you're just cycling through those exact same 12 positions. These two structures basically form the backbone of everything we covered in our map of Algebra explainer. Next up, we contrast finite abelian groups with groups of Lie type. So abelian groups, named after Neil Henrik Abel, are commutative. That just means the order you apply the operation in doesn't change the final result. It's a super orderly, highly predictable space. But compare that to the groups of Lie type, which deal with complex symmetries closely related to linear algebraic groups. If abelian groups are like your basic, reliable arithmetic, Lie type groups are the intricate geometric machinery operating right under the hood. All right, moving right along to Section 4, the pillars of group theory. You might be wondering, how do we actually package and classify all these totally different species? Well, the theory stands on 3 massive pillars. Step 1 is Lagrange's theorem. This is basically the golden rule of algebraic packaging. It tells us the order of a subgroup has to perfectly divide the order of the entire group. Then for step 2, we have the Silo theorems. These give us the flip side of that rule, laying out precise conditions for how many subgroups of a given order can even exist inside our main group. Finally, step 3, Burnside's theorem, states that you can figure out a group's solvability just by looking at its prime number factors. Wait, let's actually look a bit closer at this really odd detail proved by Walter Fate and John Thomson back in 1963. The Fate-Thomson theorem is famously known as the odd order theorem, and it boldly claims that absolutely every finite group of odd order is solvable. This sounds like a really simple statement, right? Well, it actually took a massive, intensely complicated proof to confirm it, which completely blew open our understanding of group structure. And to ground all of these highly abstract rules into something a bit more tangible, we have Cayley's theorem. Cayley's theorem proves that every single group is essentially just a subgroup of a symmetric group acting on its own elements. It beautifully ties everything straight back to the concept of permutations, showing that all these groups are, at their very core, acting on themselves. So, the crucial point is, where does this all go? Section 5, the ultimate building blocks. Where does all this classification actually lead us? Well, just as we saw in our explainer finite groups, the hidden atoms, finite simple groups are basically the atomic level of mathematics. If we compare this to everyday things, they are the Lego bricks of symmetry. Just like you can't break a prime number down into smaller whole numbers, you literally cannot break a finite simple group down into smaller, non-trivial groups. Every single complex, symmetrical object you can possibly imagine in the finite universe is built by snapping together these specific, unbreakable math bricks. And because of that enormous theorem we talked about earlier, we know exactly what is inside this Lego box. Every finite simple group belongs to one of these families. You've got your cyclic groups with prime order, the alternating groups, the simple groups of Lie type, the uniquely named Tits group, and then check out the group highlighted in striking red, the sporadic simple groups. There are exactly 26 of them, no more, no less. While all those other families represent infinite, predictable patterns, these 26 sporadic groups are absolute outliers. They are these rare, bizarre diamond pieces that simply do not fit into any other category. They're total mathematical anomalies, but at the same time, they're absolutely essential to completing the universe's symmetrical map. Together, all these structures, the infinite predictable families, along with those 26 rare diamonds, form the absolute backbone of the mathematical language of symmetry. And they don't just govern the rules on a math professor's chalkboard. They govern the physical universe, deeply influencing theoretical physics and chemistry alike. Which leaves us with a really fascinating thread to pull. If finite simple groups are the prime numbers of symmetry, the unbreakable atoms of structure, how might these building blocks eventually lead us to uncover the hidden solvability of complex polynomials? Honestly, this journey just shows how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Make sure to subscribe to Staiblocks to join us next time for our explainer on the Intro to Gay Law Theory, and keep questioning the structures around you.